that I brought up.
Oh, you did? Okay. No, that's fine, because he's the alternate. There's a few different, so one is Jason's, and one is his. Yeah, so. Everyone there was talking about it. It's a pretty quick meeting.
Yep. Yeah, I'm going to ask to pull everything. I'm going to pull a lot, hopefully. 7:01 by the clock on the wall, 7 o'clock, now we both say 7:01. We're going to call the meeting Livingston Planning Commission Tuesday, January 10th, 2023 at 7 p.m. in the City Council chambers. Call it to order, please, and have a roll call.
For the record, Commissioner Adam Bath has resigned, and his name will not be called during the roll call. Commissioner Rene Mendonca. Alternate Commissioner Andres Fuentes.
Present.
Alternate Commissioner Harpreet Baines.
Present.
Vice Chair Steve Bassie. Chair Bob Wallace.
Present.
For the record, Steve Bassie is not in attendance, and his absence is not excused. Also for the record, Renee Mendonca is not in attendance, and her absence is excused.
Can we please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. Item number 3, members of the audience at this time in person may comment on any item that is not on the agenda. Please state your name for the record. While Planning Commission encourages participation from the audience, no more than 5 minutes are allowed per discussion item. Topics is not considered urgency. Matters may be referred to city staff or placed on the next agenda for consideration and/or action by the Planning Commission. Anybody on the phone at this time? At 7:02, not hearing anybody calling in, we will close the public comment from that section. Anybody in the audience have a public comment that's not on the agenda? And we will close that part at 7:03. And we'll go over to number 3A5, number 5, correspondence. Miguel, please.
I'm sorry, did you want to handle item number 4, the minutes? Item 4A, the December 13th Planning Commission meeting minutes. I didn't hear that you guys took action on that.
Okay. Number 6, you got all that? Conflict of interest. Did I miss 4?
Yeah, item number 4 on the top of the
Well, that's
second
because
page.
it's not on the, oh, there it is, on the minutes, yeah. I'm sorry, and I was the one that complained about them. Back to item number 4 on 13th, I researched it. There was only one change, and one part of it, they spelled my name wrong, but other than that, I didn't find any vacancies, errors, or omissions, and I'd like to get a motion to approve the minutes from our meeting of December 13th, 2022.
I'll make the motion to approve them.
Yeah, for the record, the minutes will reflect the corrected address, last name for Chairman Wallace.
Yes.
Yes.
Get a second?
I'll second.
Roll call.
Alternate Commissioner Andres Fuentes.
Yes.
Alternate Commissioner Harpreet Baines.
Yes.
Chair Bob Wallace.
Yes.
Motion approved by a vote of 3-0.
Sorry about that, Miguel. Go ahead now. Thank you, Happy.
Item number 5, correspondence. Yes, we have 2 pieces of correspondence for the Planning Commission. The first is an email from Planning Commissioner Adnan Bath, who has resigned, dated or effective January 6, 2023. The second piece of correspondence is a staff memo dated today regarding agenda item 7.1, regarding the proposed amendments to the City of Livingston Planning Commission policies and procedural rules. Those are 2 items of correspondence this evening.
Go ahead, number 6.
Number 6, conflict of interest. Members of the Planning Commission will declare an actual or apparent conflict of interest before discussions on decisions about any matters in which they or anyone with whom they have a close personal relationship could directly or indirectly benefit, or where such a benefit could be perceived. At this point, it would be appropriate if any of the commissioners believe they have a conflict of interest, they would declare it on the respective agenda items in tonight's agenda. If there are none, then the record can reflect there are no.
None. Happy, none. All unanimous, none. Item 7.
Item 7A is a public hearing, consideration of proposed amendments to the City of Livingston Planning Commission policies and procedural rules. As I mentioned at the beginning of the meeting, staff has provided a memo. Staff is requesting that this item be continued to provide staff additional time to coordinate with the City Council and obtain direction on the intent and associated staff costs with updating the Planning Commission policies and procedural rules. As the commissioners have become more familiar with the proposed rules, we need to look at some consistency items with the municipal code, and that may require additional legal review, and so we want to make sure the City Council is on board with that. We will be asking for direction on whether that is necessary or there's an interest in doing that. So staff recommends that the Planning Commission approve an indefinite continuance of consideration of the proposed amendments to the Planning Commission policies and procedural rules this evening.
I talked to Miguel on this prior to today's meeting, and there were a couple items that stood out. I know we've been working this for over a year, but there were a couple items, I'm not sure, and until today, who originally brought this up. It was not the City Council, it was not the Planning Commission, so I'm not sure how much money we've already spent. And there were a couple items that went against the current city code that's in effect, and I brought those to Miguel's attention. We had a long meeting this afternoon. Matter of fact, I got locked in City Hall and had to get someone to let me out. That's how long it went. So I would strongly encourage, and I would make the motion that we go along with this recommendation and get this pulled from the item now and put it off indefinitely till we can get a better understanding of what's going on. And with 3 of us here, we have the vote to do that, if I can get a second on my motion.
I'll second it.
Get a roll call, please.
Alternate Commissioner Andres Fuentes.
Yes.
Alternate Commissioner Humphrey Baines.
Yes.
Chair Bob Wallace.
Yes.
Motion approved by a vote of 3-0.
Item number 8A, declaration of Planning Commission vacancy and expiration of Planning Commissioner's terms. I'd also like to pull that at this time. I can explain it to any of the other commissioners if you want an explanation. But I'd like to get a motion to pull it. I'll give you my explanation right now. Currently, we have 2 vacancies on the Planning Commission, and there's been an issue in the codes who appoints to the planning commission? Is it the city mayor, or is it the city council? So that's one of the reasons it's, and with two vacancies, because Commissioner Roth is now a council member, and Adnan Bath submitted his resignation. So now we have two. So that makes it a little tough. So I think we should just pull that completely 8A from this at this time. And I'd entertain a motion to do that.
So then who does make that call then? So is that what we're gonna go back and check on who makes the call?
For the record, the city council, by majority voted, the city council will appoint members to the planning commission. The item that's at question is how are those appointments being made? There is a resolution that states that the mayor will make those appointments. There's discussion that perhaps it'll be the full city council that will consider all the applicants. There's perhaps consideration that two members of the city council may be appointed to a subcommittee. So there's a variety of options of how appointments can be recommended to the full city council. And I have an item scheduled to go to city council to discuss this item, particularly, declare the vacancies and to request the city council to initiate the proceedings of making appointments. Now, the chair is requesting that this item be postponed, or I should say pulled altogether. The commissioners are welcome to ask questions or make a motion to support or not make a motion. It's up to the commission.
Anybody on the phone have any public comment on that 8A at this time at 7:12? Nobody on the phone? We'll cancel the public from the phone. Anybody present that have any issues or comments on that item? Seeing none, entertain a motion.
So, sorry, currently, so are we receiving applications for those positions, or does the public know about them?
Public know,
About
No.
the vacancies?
they know about, the public should be aware of Jason Roth being elected to city council. I don't know if the public's aware that Adnan Bath submitted his resignation, because I'm not sure of the date. Let me look here and see if it's on my record.
It's January 6th.
Yeah, January 3rd is when he resigned.
If I may, I'd like to review the vacancies and the terms of expiration. So we have 5 regular commission members and 2 that are alternates. The 5 regular commission members were Chairman Bob Wallace, Vice Chair Steve Bassi, Commissioner Jason Roth, who has been elected to the City Council, so he cannot serve on 2 boards, both the City Council and the Plan Commission, so his position is vacated. The second commissioner is regular Commissioner Adnan Bath, who has resigned, and the last is Renee Mendonca. The 2 Plan Commission alternates are Happy Baines and Andres Fuentes. Now, in terms of the vacancies, we know it's Jason Roth and Adnan Bath, and those vacancies need to be filled. And these would be appointments that would happen of unexpired terms, so their terms have not expired. Jason Roth's term expires, would have expired December of 2024, and Adnan Bath's term would have expired in December of 2023. We have regular Commissioner Steve Bassi, whose term has expired as of December of 2022, and Andres Fuentes, Plan Commission alternate, whose term has also expired December 2022. They can continue to serve in their capacity as Plan Commissioners until appointments are made. So the intent of the item today was to declare that there are vacancies and that there are expired terms that the City Council should consider initiating the proceedings to fill those, which means advertising, interviewing, and however the council chooses to do that, whether the mayor's going to do that, facilitate that, or whether that's done by staff or done by a subcommittee of the council or just done by the full council, that will be at the discretion of the full council. Hopefully that helps out. So the item that was asked today was if the Planning Commission can adopt the resolution, at least declaring to the City Council that there are vacancies in the Planning Commission and there are expired terms. So 2 vacancies and an additional 2 expired terms that should be considered for appointment by the full City Council.
Well, I wouldn't have a problem approving that or just declaring that. I mean, it's just acknowledging what's happening, pretty much.
You want to make that a motion to pull 8A?
Well, I mean, like I said, I don't see why we would pull it. I mean, we're just acknowledging what's happening, just that giving the council, advising them and letting them know of the vacancies. At least that's what I'm understanding.
Yes, the resolution that I drafted also includes that the council wanted a recommendation that Commissioners Andres Fuentes and Steve Bassi at least be considered for appointment. That's another part of the resolution that's attached.
Commissioner Baines, any comment?
On the resolution, if you go down on the eighth number where it says whereas on there,
Yes.
so is that supposed to be my name on there without the S on there?
I made a mistake. That should have been alternate Commissioner
Yeah, because
Fuentes.
on some of them you have Andres' name on there, and then on that one you have my name on there.
I apologize for that. It would be recommending Andres Fuentes as Planning Commission alternate, at least to be considered for the Planning Commission. I can make that change if the commission wants to adopt this resolution, but a motion hasn't been seconded yet.
So what was the, I just want to get a clarification on Bob's pulling this item.
Yeah, I think we should. That would be my personal opinion, but we need a motion, and then we can go from there, just pull it.
I mean, the reasoning for you wanting to pull the item is that you don't want to move it forward to council for their discretion?
We needs to go to city council. They need to fill those vacancies. And we've got 2 that we know of. The other 2 planning commissioners or anybody that's called in may or may not know, I submitted my application to fill Mayor Moran's position for 2 years because that's all I have left on the planning commission. So whenever the city council decides what's going on now, there could be automatically 3. So that needs to be taken into consideration here. And that'll affect the next 2 items too, once we decide on this. I have no idea how many people have applied, where anything is. I don't know, don't want to know. I want to wait till city council, mayor, somebody knows, has got to make a decision here because we can't keep going with 2 vacancies and the 2 permanent members. So now it's push it right back to the city council and say, okay, you guys got to get together and you guys have to make a decision. One way or the other, we got to do something. It doesn't make sense to hold a meeting with 1 permanent member and 2 alternate members. That gives us a quorum, but is that right? When there should be 5, and an alternate filling in if one of the 5 was missing.
Did you have a comment?
From the public, any comment on the phone? Any, go ahead. Let me close the public on the phone, and go ahead, state your name and.
My name is Kenneth Dowell, resident of the city. Perhaps to assist the planning commission is...
Your mic's not on.
It's not.
I didn't hear it.
Is that better?
Yep.
Kenneth Dowell, for the record. Perhaps to assist in filling these, maybe it could be, applications could be made available at these meetings so that when this is made aware, people could just grab one on the way out, because this is something I would just apply for tonight.
Yeah, we should be, once city council decides how, the city council can appoint them without doing applications. They can say they want to advertise it, if I remember correctly. It can go either way. City council can decide, move 2 alternates into the 2 position, and I'll advertise for 2 alternates, or they can, whichever way they decide. It's strictly the city council makes that decision.
Is there a time?
If they decide, that'll be decided which way the city council wants to do it. If they want to do it by advertising, then it would get into a couple weeks in the newspaper before, I'm not sure when they advertise for open positions, because it's been a long time since they've had to do it.
Okay.
In the same, if they appoint somebody, then they could technically appoint 2 people at their meeting next week, if it's on their agenda, and then advertise for 2 alternate positions. That's what I say, it's city council, we have no control, and there's nothing that prescribes how city council wants to handle that issue. Years back, I sent a motion forward a long time back and brought it up that any item or any vacancy on the planning commission, all the applicants should constantly appear before the planning commissioners, let us find out what their background is, what efficiency they have, and let us send 2 or 3 recommendations to city council. It
Okay.
never went anywhere, but that's what I say. We have a new city council. I have no clue what their desire is. It hasn't been made to me, and I don't know, it hasn't been made to you either, has it, Miguel?
No, and for the record, the action today is just to inform the council that there are vacancies and terms have expired. It does not involve any recommendation of how those vacancies will be filled.
Okay. If I could make a recommendation to you too, we have a new council, and your recommendation sounds logical. I would bring that forth to the new council and see if they can.
Say that again, please.
I said your recommendation of pre-selecting and sending forth applicants to the council sounds logical.
It did, and the only reason I brought it up, because we used to have a second home up in Mendocino County, and their planning commission is how they did interviews for applicants. And the last time an applicant was interviewed, best of my knowledge now, was when I was interviewed with other people before the city council. And I don't think there's been any others since then, and I was appointed in 15.
Well, forgive me for holding the meeting up. Thank you for your explanation.
Thank you. Any other public comment? If not, we will close all public comments at 7:23. Commissioner Baines, Commissioner Fuentes, any recommendations? We want to definitely pull it, or?
Well, once again, I guess, Bob, your, idea of pulling it is because you applied for the council, and if that gets approved, then your seat will be vacancy, then we have to have
Yeah,
a
we're
third seat.
pushing
will
it, we're just pushing it back, telling the city council and the mayor how important this is, and we need these positions filled either by February or March, but something has to give. And we don't have the power to give it, so they have to.
Correct. So then if we pull it, then it just prolong that idea then. So if we
Yeah, it'll
approve it,
prolong it, yep.
so then your reasoning, then we shouldn't be pulling this, then we should be approving it so they're aware of the vacancies, right?
We're approving that it goes to the city council, if my wording is right.
Yeah,
Pulling this
because,
item, sending it to the city council.
okay.
Making
That's-
them aware of the predicament they
Well-
have put this planning commission.
I think when you say pull the item, we're thinking that you want to pull the item and then bring it back at a later date.
At a later date, once they've made a decision, so we get a full DS up here.
Correct, so instead of pull, you want to say approve.
We should approve.
Yes, okay, so I'll second the approval of item 8A for the City Livingston Planning Commission.
Roll call?
Alternate Commissioner Andres Fuentes.
Yes.
Alternate Commissioner Harpreet Baines.
Yes,
Chair Bob Wallace.
Yes.
Motion approved by a vote of 3-0.
For the record, that was a motion made by Chairman Wallace and a second by Commissioner Baines.
That brings us, Miguel, do you want to talk about B and C, or you want me to?
Items B and C
Eight.
are the elections of officers every year. The Plan Commission should select a chair, a vice chair. Being that there are a number of commissioners that are not present, this item may be considered for postponement. Normally, folks are nominated and they accept nomination and then they're voted on. If a chair and vice chair are not selected or recommended for selection at this meeting, that can happen at another meeting, and Chairman Bob Wallace can continue to serve as a chair until those positions are confirmed. So item 8A was selection of a chair, and item, 8B was selection of the Plan Commission chair, and item 8C was selection of the Plan Commission vice chair. So it's the commission's discretion whether they want to postpone this or they want to make recommendations and nominations.
Any questions from the public on the phone? Hearing none, we'll open and close it at 7:27. Any of the commissioners have comments, want to make or ask for any more explanations on item 8B or C?
So we want to fill those positions, right? The chair, the vice chair. Would that be something we would like to hold off on until
Yeah.
we have a full?
Yeah, in answer
Commissioner.
to your question, I don't think it's fair for us three to make a decision for which would normally be 5 people.
Right.
That's just my opinion of it, and either anybody here can make a recommendation for any of those positions, but you'd have to already know that person wants it.
Right.
We don't know because they're not in attendance, so we would be making assumptions, so it's an awkward situation to say the least, and, so I don't know what everybody feels about it, so that's what my thought was.
Yeah, I would think we would want to push this one or hold off on it for now. I would think.
If the commission wants to postpone consideration of these positions, a proper motion would be for one of the commissioners to motion that these items be postponed to the next meeting. Items
Oh,
B
I'll
and
motion
item
that.
C.
I'll motion to postpone.
Till the next meeting, or till we have the 5 are sworn in?
I would say until we have the 5, unless you guys think otherwise. But
So
till we have a full house, like until we have
your
everyone.
motion is to have at least the 5 permanent members assigned, and then we'll hold elections for that?
Yes.
Okay. You going to second that one, Adam? Yeah, that was his motion, yeah, with my amendment that we hold off until the 5 regular planning commissions have been appointed by the city council, unless you have.
I'll second item number 8, B and C, to hold off on the election of the commission chair and the commission vice chair until we have a full 5-people commission.
Yeah, and it's possible even then that we could have two alternates too by then. We could have a full 7 with one voting odd months, one voting even months. But we would have a full panel, which I just think would be more equitable. We have a first and a second. Can we get a roll call on pulling that? Or postponing it?
Alternate Commissioner Andres Fuentes.
Yes.
Alternate Commissioner Harvey Baines.
Yes.
Chair Bob Wallace.
Yes.
Motion approved by a vote of 3-0.
Number 9's all yours, Miguel.
Item number 9 is report of the planning director. For members of the audience, as these meetings are now being taped and broadcasted, we review recent city council actions, we review housekeeping items and items on the horizon. Under recent city council actions related to planning, there's nothing to report. Under housekeeping items, at the last meeting, I mentioned that on December 6th, the city council voted to discontinue holding public meetings pursuant to AB 361, allowing members of the public to participate in the public meetings via two-way or internet communication options. Just to paraphrase that, members of the public can call in, they can text in by the internet or call in by internet, and they can participate that way. The members that should be in attendance would be planning commissioners, so I just want to make that real clear. Item number 2 is a reminder of the City Council Relations Dinner will be held on January 26th in Gustine. Thank you for for confirming your attendance if you are attending. Item number 3 under housekeeping items is a follow-up to a question raised last month on semi-truck parking and servicing of those trucks on property and located on the east side of Robin Avenue between Lilac Lane and Peach Avenue. Staff confirmed that the subject project, I should say property, is located outside of the city limits and is subject to the Merced County zoning ordinance. Staff did go out and we observed tractor trailers and trailers parked on the property. Staff also reached out to the Merced County Code Enforcement staff to check on whether their truck parking operation is permitted. I left messages and there has been no response. The county would do code enforcement if it's required. On the horizon, the city is resuming its general plan update effort. As a reminder, a general plan joint city council plan commission workshop is scheduled for Tuesday, January 24th, 2023, starting at 5:30. It'll probably go to 7:30 or a little bit beyond. Staff looks forward to seeing participation from the council, the commission, and the public. The meeting is open to the public and will be held here in the council chambers. On January 17th, staff will be requesting the city council to commence the proceedings for filling the vacancies, and we'll see what process the city council will take. We have no agenda item scheduled for the February 14th, 2023 Planning Commission meeting at this time. At the March 14th, 2023 Planning Commission meeting, staff plans to have 3 agenda items for consideration. One item is a public hearing to consider a general plan amendment, a master conditional use permit, a subdivision map for a proposed project along Bird Street in the north part of the city. A second item would be a public hearing to consider a use permit, a site plan design review application for the development of a residential project along 5th and F Streets. The third item is a public hearing to consider a use permit and site plan design review application for the development of another residential project along B Street. This concludes the director's report this evening.
Got a question, Miguel, before I open it up to any of the other commissioners. The truck parking between Robin and Peach, Lilac and Robin and Peach,
Yes.
is it illegal? What's city gonna do about it? What was the determination? I didn't hear you. That I brought up at the last meeting you were gonna check into?
Yeah, I discussed that just now, but to paraphrase, I did go out, I confirmed that there is truck parking there. I saw trailers there. The property is located outside the city, so we have no jurisdiction over that. When I looked at the county zoning code, the property zone agriculture, they are allowed to have up to up to 10 tractor trailers with an administrative use permit. If they have more than 10 tractor trailers on site, they need a regular use permit. I've reached out to the county and asked them, what's going on? Does this property have an administrative use permit or a conditional use permit? I suspect the answer is no, because they are parking on dirt. And usually with these type of approvals, they require the property to be paved and asphalted or something like that. So I reached out to the code enforcement office and asked them to confirm whether or not the county has issued any permits for that. If they haven't, to take this as a land use complaint from the city for enforcement.
I have one other question. I stopped by the old Pink Building, as most of us call it, and talked to the contractors there, and they say it's going to be a Hispanic market. But when I asked them if they bought all 4 parcels, I don't think the guy understood that there was actually 3. He said they bought it all, but then he got confused. Did he buy the building that they're working on, or did he buy the adjacent 3 lots? Does anybody know? Does anything in planning hit your desk or been mentioned to you about further development there? If the same guy bought those additional 3 lots? Because the planning commission, and we wrote them up, because we had to adjust those property lines a year or 2 back, because one of the property lines was actually under the Pink Building. So we squared it up and made 4 lots there. But I'm just curious if whoever purchased the Pink Building that's going to make it a Hispanic market, did he buy, in fact, the other 3? And then he's going to submit something? Do you have any clue?
I don't have the answer for that. I cannot say for certain, other than, asking the people out on the site. Typically, I can confirm who owns the property once the deeds are recorded and that information is uploaded with the county assessor's office. I know I've spoken to like 3 to 5 different parties that are interested in buying that. I suspect that someone bought all properties out there, because I've had requests for not only, repurposing that value market store into another store, but even adding additional retail out there. We've talked about there's a residential house that's attached or connected, and the last people I spoke with, they were thinking about repurposing that home into a warehouse. And so staff has not received, whether we got a building permit for any tenant improvements.
No, we have not.
Yeah. Typically, once the tenant improvements come in, we can see everything that is being proposed for remodeling and refurbishment. But I don't think we have a building permit for any type of interior tenant improvements at this time. To answer your question, I don't know for sure who owns all properties, but as soon as we find out, I can certainly let you know. I strongly suspect someone did buy all those properties.
Okay. All right. And any progress on Moonglow? Due to this weather, I expect nothing.
Moonglow was, for the members of the audience, Moonglow is a property on the southeast corner of Hammett and Campbell, and they were approved to develop a number of fast food restaurants on the western parcel, and then a truck tire store, fast food, tire shop, I think, on the middle parcel, and a storm drain basin on the third parcel to the east. Moonglow has not moved forward with their general plan amendment to rezone the storm drain basin that's there from public facility to C3 highway commercial. On the second parcel, the truck parcel, they have submitted a revised site plan, and they're asking for minor modifications to that. They're kind of reorienting the RV parking that was proposed there, along with the RV, I forget what you call it, where they do the dumping of the sewage. So they're looking at reorientating that. So there's a proposal in, but one of the things that they are also required to do is to annex to the Capital Facilities District 2017-01, and I don't think they were included in the last one.
No, they were not.
And so at this point, we're just waiting for them to move forward either with a building permit, a grading permit, and then moving forward with annexation to the CFD. As you know, the property to the west, construction has begun on the Arco AM PM market, which also includes fast food there. So they're making progress, but they're not putting up sticks yet. We're grading.
You mentioned the Arco station. I know they had a groundbreaking, I know what they did. Now, how does that affect their original application because they wanted to put a restaurant in there? Now, is that going to have to come back completely to the commission? Because it's been over a year, I believe, on the original application. So now is that sit-down restaurant going to have to be revisited, or is it still in effect? What's their timeline on that? And did it, when they broke ground, was there anything debated on that or addressed that we're not aware of?
Yeah, my understanding is that development includes two main structures. One is a convenience store with a fast food restaurant, quick service restaurant that's connected or built attached to the convenience market. And separate to that, there'd be another restaurant, quick service restaurant that would be separate, would be built at a later phase. It is my expectation that once they're ready to develop that, they would come in with a site plan design review application for the Plan Commission and the City Council to consider the design and the layout of that, the second building with the fast food restaurants. But they are moving forward with the gasoline islands, the convenience store, and the quick service restaurant.
Okay. Any of the commissioners have any questions for Miguel? No? Anybody in the audience have any questions? Hearing none. Anybody on the phone? Questions for anybody? Hearing none, we will adjourn the meeting at 7:42 until the second Tuesday in February. Thank you, everybody. Meeting adjourned.
Good evening.